Look, I want you to picture something. It's a normal weekday. You're tired in that specific way where your body is home, but your mind is still at work. And then you check your bank app. And it's not because you're panicking or because anything is wrong, just out of habit. And for a second, you actually feel proud because your paycheck is bigger than it used to be. Then you remember how you used to calculate groceries like a math test, how you used to flinch at the word unexpected, how you used to tell yourself, once I make more, I'll finally relax. Then you got the raise, and for a moment, you did relax. But then, quietly, the old feeling came back. It's not a crisis nor a meltdown, just this low-grade tension that lives under your day, like you're doing well, but it still doesn't feel safe.
It's because making more is not the same as being safe.
That sounds harsh, but it's actually good news because it means you're not broken. It just means something is solvable. If you've made more money and you still don't feel safe, you're not ungrateful. You're not irresponsible or secretly bad with money. You're just missing the one thing salary can't automatically give you. And once you see it, the whole situation starts making sense. Most people think financial safety is a number. They think there's a salary where your shoulders finally drop, where you stop checking your account like it's a weather forecast. They treat income like a shield. If I just hit X dollars, I'll be okay. And yes, more income helps. It may be true, and I'm not pretending it doesn't. It can reduce pressure. It can buy options. But the reason it still doesn't feel safe is because your brain doesn't measure safety the way you think it does.
Safety isn't income. Safety is margin.
Margin is a quiet word. It doesn't sound exciting, but it changes everything. Let me give you a real example. A guy gets a raise. Not insane money, just enough to finally breathe. And he thinks, okay, I can stop living like everything is fragile. So he upgrades life in small, reasonable ways. A better apartment because he wants to feel calm at home. He starts ordering food more often because he's exhausted after work. He replaces his old car with something reliable because he's tired of repairs. For 2 weeks, he feels lighter. He checks his bank app and thinks, I'm finally okay. Then the month starts happening. Rent, insurance, gas, a random expense, something normal. And suddenly, the tension is back.
Because the raise didn't create safety, it created a new baseline.
Exactly. He didn't waste money. He converted money into relief. But relief isn't safety if it repeats. Now his life needs that raise just to feel normal, so he's earning more. But he's living with the same fear. One surprise and I'm back in the stress.
That's not margin. That's timing.
And that's why payday feels like oxygen. But 2 weeks later, you're holding your breath again. Margin is what's left after life happens. After rent, after food, after gas, after insurance, after childcare, after the random, why is this expensive moments. Margin is the difference between I can handle this and this ruins my month. And here's the problem. A higher salary doesn't guarantee margin. Sometimes it just upgrades your life and keeps you emotionally in the same place.
Let's be direct. There are 3 reasons a higher salary doesn't feel safe. First, your costs rise with your income. Second, your obligations rise with your income. Third, your nervous system doesn't trust good news quickly. If you don't build a system, the raise becomes a lifestyle, not safety.
Look at that. 3 clean reasons. And if you're already feeling defensive, I get it. Because none of this feels like I'm doing something wrong. It feels like life. And that's what makes this topic so hard. You didn't make one big mistake. You just adapted. Let's talk about the first reason. Costs. This is the part where people roll their eyes because they think it's going to turn into stop buying coffee. or anything like that. But that's not it. This is about something more human. When your salary goes up, your brain tries to convert that money into relief. It's because relief is what you actually want. You don't just want a bigger number. You want the day to feel lighter, so you upgrade small things that make life easier. And if you think about it, it makes sense. You move to a nicer place because home is where you recover. You buy a better car because you're tired of repairs and stress. You order more food because you don't have the energy to cook. None of that is reckless. It's coping. It's rest. It's trying to make your life feel like it matches how hard you work.
And the moment it repeats, it becomes a fixed cost. That's the rule. If it repeats every month, it's not a treat. It's a commitment.
That's the difference. A treat feels like a choice. A fixed cost feels like a rule you have to obey. And when enough small upgrades become fixed costs, something happens. Your raise doesn't create space. It creates a new baseline. So you're making more money, but your life requires more money to feel normal. And that's why you still don't feel safe. Because your nervous system isn't reacting to your salary. It's reacting to whether your life has space, whether you have room. Here's how you can tell if this is you. Not by judging your spending, by noticing your emotional pattern. You get paid, you breathe, then the month begins, bills hit, life hits, something comes up, and that breath gets shorter again.
If you feel relief on payday and pressure 2 weeks later, you don't have margin, you have timing.
That's a perfect way to say it. If your calm only exists right after payday, your calm is fragile, and fragile doesn't feel safe, even if the numbers look fine. Now the second reason, obligations. This one is painful because it's not always optional. When you earn more, you don't just get more money. You often become the person who can handle more. You become reliable. You become the one people lean on. Maybe you help your family. Maybe you support your partner. Maybe you're the one who always says, "I'll take care of it." And I want to pause here. If that's you, I'm not here to tell you to stop caring. Being generous isn't the problem. The problem is when your generosity turns into a permanent responsibility that your system didn't plan for.
If someone depends on your income isn't just income anymore. It's infrastructure. Infrastructure needs a buffer.
And if you don't build that buffer, your nervous system knows. It feels like walking on a bridge that looks strong, but you can't see what it's built on. So even when you make more, you feel more pressure, because now the stakes are higher, and higher stakes make the brain scan for risk. There's a version of this that doesn't even involve other people. It's just the pressure of maintaining your own life. When your lifestyle rises, your must-earn number rises too. Your job becomes less optional. Your time becomes more expensive. Your mistakes become more costly, so you can be earning more than you ever have and still feel like you can't breathe.
That's high income, low freedom. And it happens when fixed costs grow faster than margin.
And once you're in that zone, money doesn't feel like protection. It feels like a treadmill with nicer shoes. Now, the third reason might be the most important: your nervous system. If you've spent years in financial stress, your body learned a habit. Check, worry, control, check again. Even if your life improves, your brain doesn't instantly update. It keeps scanning because it thinks scanning keeps you safe, so you can build your income and still have a mind that expects collapse.
Safety is not just having money, it's believing you have time.
Time is the real currency here, not "someday I'll be rich." Time. Time to handle a car repair without panic. Time to lose a paycheck without the whole month falling apart. Time to choose the next job, not the next emergency. And that's why people with higher salaries still feel unsafe, because they have income, but they don't have time. They have cash flow, but they don't have a buffer. They have fine, but not freedom. So let's say this clearly. A higher salary can increase your power, but if your life expands to consume it, you're not safer. You're just operating at a higher speed.
And high speed always feels risky because any surprise costs more. That's not pessimism. That's physics. When you build a life that requires your full paycheck to maintain, you're living with zero margin. Zero margin means your nervous system can never relax. Because it knows, one wrong step and you feel it immediately.
Okay, here's the turning point. This is the moment we stop describing the problem and start changing how you see it. Financial safety isn't earned by income. It's built by design. It's built by a system that creates margin on purpose. And once you internalize that, the story changes. Because now, your goal isn't make more. Your goal becomes keep space, keep room, keep choices.
Income is raw material. Margin is the product. If you don't manufacture margin, you'll consume the raw material.
That sounded cold, but it's true. And it's not meant to shame you. It's meant to hand you control. Because you can't control every expense. You can't control every emergency. You can't control the economy. But you can control whether your raise becomes lifestyle or safety. And here's a question that changes everything. If you lost your job tomorrow, would your life collapse immediately? Not emotionally, practically. Would you have time?
If the answer is no, then your salary is not your safety. Your buffer is.
And if that answer makes you feel tense, don't panic. That tension is just information. It's your mind telling you the truth gently. Now we'll keep the practical part realistic. No extreme rules. No cut everything fun. No shame. Just a calm system.
First rule, build margin before you upgrade lifestyle. If you upgrade lifestyle first, you lock yourself into a higher baseline. If you build margin first, you buy future flexibility.
That's the system truth. If you're getting a raise, the most powerful thing you can do is decide in advance what portion becomes invisible. Not because you're punishing yourself, because you're protecting your future from autopilot.
Second rule, automate the future. If savings depends on memory, it won't survive a busy life. If investing depends on motivation, it will collapse the moment you feel tired. Automation is not discipline. Automation is design.
And design is gentle, because it doesn't ask you to be a different person. It just creates a default that helps you when you're human. There's another piece that matters. Fixed costs. I'm not saying never upgrade anything. I'm saying understand what fixed costs do to freedom. A bigger rent, a bigger car payment, a bigger set of monthly commitments. Fixed costs don't just cost money. They cost options because they raise your must-earn level. And when your must-earn level rises, your job becomes more controlling. You can't take a break. You can't take a risk. You can't breathe as easily.
And here comes the rule. If it increases your monthly baseline, it decreases your freedom. Treat it like a serious decision.
And that's not to scare you. It's to make you feel calmer. Because once you stop casually upgrading your baseline, your nervous system starts trusting the ground again. Now, about that nervous system part. If you've lived through financial stress, even small improvements can feel temporary. So it's possible you'll build margin and still feel anxious for a while. That doesn't mean you failed. It means your body needs repetition to believe.
Safety is proved through consistency, not through one good month.
Right. Your brain believes patterns, not promises. So the goal isn't one perfect budget. The goal is a pattern where your future gets paid first, quietly, every month, and eventually something changes. You stop checking your bank app compulsively, not because you're rich, because you have room. So if you made more money and it still doesn't feel safe, you're not broken, you're not ungrateful, you're not doing it wrong. You just discovered the real definition of safety. Safety is margin. Margin is time. Time is choices.
And one more hard truth. A raise gives you options. A system keeps them.
This is the ending we always return to. We're a team. One of us protects the person when it gets heavy. The other goes after the problem. And you can build that kind of teamwork inside yourself too. Not with pressure, with a system, with honesty, with small, steady steps that don't require a perfect mood. Because progress beats perfection every time. And one day you'll look up and realize your salary didn't become safety. Your system did. If this helped even a little or you enjoyed the video, share it with someone you care about. And if you want more practical videos like this, I suggest you to subscribe. Your support motivates us to keep moving forward and share more stories and talk topics. See you next time.